There comes a moment in life when you realize that thinking about your dreams is no longer enough. You can plan, imagine, prepare, and tell yourself that someday you will become the person you want to be. But dreams do not change your life until you decide to act. The biggest obstacle is often not failure, lack of talent, or difficult circumstances. Sometimes it is simply the habit of waiting. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be better, that next week will be easier, or that someday you will finally feel ready. But tomorrow can become another tomorrow, and before you realize it, months or even years can disappear while you remain in the same place. You do not need perfect conditions to begin. You do not need complete confidence, unlimited time, or everyone's approval. You only need the courage to take one honest step forward. Maybe you feel tired today. Maybe you are uncertain about your abilities. Maybe you have tried before and things did not work out. None of those things mean you must remain where you are. Confidence often comes after action, not before it. When you take a step while you are afraid, you teach yourself that fear does not control you. When you continue despite doubt, you discover that you are capable of more than you thought. When you complete something even though you did not feel motivated, you begin developing discipline. That is how change starts, not with a dramatic transformation, but with a small decision repeated consistently. You do not have to fix your entire life today. Choose one important thing and begin there. If you have an hour, use the hour. If you have only 15 minutes, use those 15 minutes. If all you can manage today is one small action, make that action meaningful. Never underestimate what a small beginning can become when you refuse to stop. A single page can eventually become a finished book. One lesson can lead to a new skill. One workout can begin a healthier routine. One application can open a new opportunity. One decision can redirect an entire future. The mistake is believing that small progress is worthless. Small progress becomes powerful when you repeat it. So stop asking yourself whether you feel completely prepared. Ask a better question: what can I do right now? Then do it. Start before you feel confident. Start before everything is organized. Start while there is still uncertainty. The person you want to become will not appear because you waited for the perfect moment. That person is built through the choices you make today. You may not know exactly where the road will lead, but you can still take the next step. Get up, leave the excuses behind, and begin. Your future does not require perfection from you. It requires movement. There will come a point when you understand that nobody is going to build your future for you. People can encourage you, guide you, teach you, and stand beside you, but the responsibility for your choices ultimately belongs to you. This becomes especially clear when nobody is watching. When there is no audience, no praise, no one checking your progress, and no one reminding you what you promised yourself. What you choose to do in those quiet moments reveals the person you are becoming. Anyone can work hard when people are cheering, but real discipline is developed when you continue without recognition. You study because you said you would study. You practice because you know practice matters. You work on your goal because you understand that your future depends on the effort you make today. Discipline does not mean that you feel energetic every morning or excited about every task. It means you learn to act even when your feelings are telling you to stay comfortable. Motivation can disappear, but commitment can remain. There will be mornings when you want to stay in bed, afternoons when distractions seem more attractive than your responsibilities, and evenings when quitting appears easier than continuing. On those days, remember why you began. You do not have to perform perfectly, you simply have to keep your promise to yourself. Every time you do something you said you would do, you strengthen your trust in yourself. If you promise to study for 30 minutes and actually study, you prove that your words have meaning. If you decide to exercise and follow through, you prove that you can act despite resistance. These small victories may seem insignificant, but they slowly create a stronger identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who does not disappear when things become difficult, someone who can be trusted with their own dreams. At the same time, you must understand that difficult days are unavoidable. Progress will not always be visible. Sometimes you will work hard and see almost no immediate result. Sometimes you will make an attempt and fail. Sometimes you will give everything you have and still face rejection. That does not mean your effort was wasted. Failure can reveal what needs to change, and difficult seasons can teach patience, resilience, and courage. One disappointing day cannot define your entire future. One mistake cannot erase everything you have learned. When life becomes difficult, allow yourself to breathe, recover, and learn, but do not turn temporary pain into a permanent decision to quit. You are allowed to rest, but do not abandon yourself. You are allowed to change your approach, but do not throw away your purpose simply because the first attempt was unsuccessful. When you feel overwhelmed by everything you need to accomplish, simplify the situation. Stop staring at the entire mountain and focus on the next step. Choose one task. Give it your attention, put away the distractions, and begin. You do not need to solve your entire life today. You only need to make today's decision useful. One focused action can create momentum, and momentum makes the next action easier. Instead of asking how you will accomplish everything, ask what deserves your attention right now. Then do that one thing. When you consistently focus on the next step rather than fearing the entire journey, what once seemed impossible begins to feel manageable. Your life can change through these ordinary moments of discipline. Not because every day is extraordinary, but because you keep choosing progress when nobody is forcing you to choose it. So when the day becomes difficult, remember that your future is being shaped in the quiet moments. Keep your promise, take the next step. Continue even when the results are slow. You are not required to be perfect. You are required to keep moving. One of the most important things you can understand is that your future is being created by the choices you make today, even when those choices seem small. Imagine meeting yourself several years from now and looking back at this exact moment. What would you want that future version of you to say about today? Would you want to hear, "I am glad you finally started," or would you wish you had stopped delaying? The answer depends on what you decide to do now. Every hour you spend learning, practicing, working, improving, or moving toward something meaningful is helping shape the person you will become. You may think one day does not matter, one page does not matter, or one attempt is too small to make a difference, but a future is built from small actions repeated over time. You do not suddenly become disciplined, confident, skilled, or successful in one afternoon. You become those things through hundreds of ordinary decisions. Some days you will make progress quickly, while other days you will barely move forward, but both kinds of days can be part of the journey. What matters most is refusing to permanently give up on yourself. Perhaps you have already made mistakes. Perhaps you believe you started too late. Perhaps you have wasted opportunities or allowed fear to control you for longer than you wanted. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you can decide what happens next. Your past can become a lesson without becoming a prison. You can take what went wrong, understand it, and use that knowledge to make a better decision today. Do not spend all your energy explaining why your circumstances are difficult. Instead, ask yourself what is still within your control. Maybe you cannot change everything, but you can change one thing. Maybe you cannot reach your final destination today, but you can move closer to it. Maybe you cannot erase your previous failures, but you can refuse to repeat the same pattern. That is where your power begins. You also need to stop waiting for motivation to rescue you. Motivation is useful, but it is unreliable. Some days you will feel inspired, and other days you will feel nothing at all. If your progress depends entirely on your mood, your progress will always be inconsistent. Build a habit of doing what matters even when the excitement is gone. Open the book when you would rather scroll. Practice when nobody is praising you. Continue when the results are taking longer than expected. Begin again after a setback. These choices are not glamorous, but they create strength. Eventually, you stop needing constant encouragement because your own actions become evidence that you are capable. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust is powerful. So stop waiting for the perfect Monday, the perfect month, or the perfect opportunity. There may never be a moment when everything feels right. If you have been delaying something important, start with the smallest useful action you can take today. Send the message, open the document, learn the first lesson, make the first attempt, take the walk, finish the task. You do not have to complete the entire journey today. You only have to begin moving. One day, you may look back and realize that the life you wanted did not begin with some extraordinary event. It began on an ordinary day when you finally decided that waiting had taken enough of your time. You may remember how uncertain you felt, how afraid you were, and how little progress you could see at first. But you kept going. You showed up, you learned, you failed and tried again. You continued when nobody was watching. And eventually, the small actions became something much bigger, so make that decision now. Do not promise yourself a perfect future. Promise yourself honest effort. Do not demand that you become a completely different person overnight. Simply become a little stronger through today's choices. Your dream does not need another excuse. Your future does not need another delay. What it needs is your action. Take a breath, stand up, and do the next thing that matters. When fear speaks, move anyway. When failure appears, learn from it. When motivation disappears, rely on discipline. When the journey feels long, focus on the next step. And when you finally reach a place you once believed was impossible, you will understand that the biggest change began with a very simple decision. You stopped waiting and started moving. So get up, begin again, and keep going. Your next chapter is not written yet, and the choices you make today can help determine what that chapter becomes.